Logical operators are useful for arriving at a true or false value by operating on other things to provide true or false values. They could be Boolean variables, but more commonly, logical operators are used to work on the results of other relational operations. Right? So there are basically four fundamental logical operators: and, or, exclusive or, and what we call negation. And we look at this is that the and allows us to take two things can resolve to true or false, and if both of those are true, then the and returns true. Right, so we look at a little bit of code here. If I have three variables declared, A, B, and C, and I say if A is greater than B and B is greater than C, print out A is greater than C. What this does is that first we do the comparison of A being greater than B. In this case it is, right? 20 is greater than 14, so A greater than B resolves the true. Then we operate on B greater than C. Well, 14 is greater than 5. That resolves the true. And then we AND those two trues together, and true equals true. Right, so an AND resolves the true only if both sides of it are also true. Then we have an OR. OR compares the two sides, and only one side needs to be true. Right, so if the first one's false and the second side is true, then that resolves the true. If the first side is true and the second side is false, that still resolves the true. And even if both sides are true, the OR resolves the true. Now that's different than the exclusive OR. In the exclusive OR, exactly one side needs to be true. It can be false or true, and then true or false. In the case of the exclusive OR, it just can't be true or true. And the last one is negation. Negation basically reverses the result. So basically, when you use negation, not false is true. Right? And so if we just look at that in code, if I have a little Boolean variable done, I say done is false. Well, if I go if not done, print out, keep going. Right? Well, we look at done, done is false, but then the not of done, or the not of false, is true. There are two special logical operators called conditional logical operators. There's a conditional and a conditional or. Now, conceptually, these resolve the same way as the other ands and ors we looked at. The key difference, though, is that they only execute the right side of their test if they need to do that to determine the result. So in the case of an and, right, for and, both sides have to be true. So a conditional logical and only executes the right side if the left side was already true. Because if the left side was false, we know the and's going to fail anyway, so there's no reason to even run the right side of it. In the case of the conditional logical or, it only executes the right side if the left side is false. Right? Because if the left side were true, in that case we'd already know we were done, so we wouldn't need to execute the right side. So looking at the conditional and, we still need both sides to be true for that to resolve the true. But when doing a test, if the left side had resolved the false, it would never even run the right side because we already know that the result of the and would be false. Looking at the conditional or, the left side is false, but you or that with a right side of true, that resolves the true. But if you do a conditional or and the left side is true, it never even runs the right side because we already know the result's going to be true.